And now, The Money Show with Motheo Khoaripe
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show with Stephen Grooters is brought to you by Absa CIB, proud to support Genza Energy's investment in the infrastructure powering West Africa's growth. Welcome to the Friday edition of The Money Show, and we have a packed show to go through some results and also some word from the US Fed as well. The US GDP numbers coming out today, that economy growing by 1.5% in the second quarter of 2026, much slower than the 2.1% growth recorded in the first quarter. Back here at home on the JSE, Northern Platinum reporting a nearly eightfold increase in annual profit. That's just over 700%, helped by record production and higher platinum group metal prices. We'll be looking at those particular numbers and breaking down the markets with Azola Kemguni, the Chief Investment Officer at Benguela Global Fund Managers. Then talking about those results, chickens don't fly, but Rainbow Chicken definitely flying today with stronger results. We'll be talking to Marthinus Stander, CEO of Rainbow Chicken. Then Stadio Holdings, a very private group in terms of education, giving traditional universities a run for their money. Revenue up 13% there to over 1 billion rand. We'll be talking to Ishak Kula, the CFO of Stadio Holdings. Then later on the show, we'll be having our Friday file where we'll be talking to a Proteas great, somebody who used to open the batting for the Proteas, Graham Smith. He is now, of course, the Betway SA20 League Commissioner, Graham Smith, and he'll be talking to us about the fifth season of the competition, but also what makes so many fans go to the stadiums. 22 games they had that were packed last season out of the 34 that they hosted. We'll be chatting to him about the lifestyle effect of going to live games, and that's in our Friday file. Then we'll test your knowledge, of course, and everything we've shared this week in our Friday Biz Blitz. All that and more on The Money Show. Let's talk money.
The Money Show
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
On 92.7 or 106 FM and DSTV channel 856.
Well, Rainbow Chicken reporting a strong financial year helped by higher demand for chicken, better pricing and improved operational performance. Revenue increasing by 7.7% to 17.1 billion rand, while operating profit doubled to 2.1 billion rand. The company's headline earnings per share rising 130% to 150 cents. The company says these results were driven by firm chicken prices. But let's get more from somebody who would have known the numbers far better, CEO of Rainbow Chicken, Marthinus Stander. Marthinus, welcome to The Money Show.
Yeah, thank you very much, Motheo.
It's been a great life since that unbundling from RCL Foods, a great recovery, especially after the bird flu outbreak.
Yeah, quite right. We are very happy with the results. We remain humble with farmers, anything, and there's always lots of things that can happen, but in essence, very happy.
Looking at South Africa's favorite protein, chicken, right? It's made a great comeback in terms of pricing, but also customers, as times get tough and tight, going back to the trusted, affordable protein over the time. What have you made sure in the business to make, to take advantage of that demand returning to the market?
Yeah, Motheo, we've seen obviously when foot and mouth disease broke in the red meat industry, there was an opportunity for us as a trusted, as you say, affordable, versatile protein. And we had a tailwind in terms of pricing. I think things have and are normalizing in the red meat industry. We know the consumer is constrained. So these things always just come down to supply and demand, and we operate in that space. For the rest, very much also linked to commodities, our business. So for us, the trying to bulletproof it or to improve sustainable performance was all about our engine room, feed breed, egg processing, and the distribution element, and getting that to a low-cost, efficient base. So a lot of focus on basics, KPIs, genetics, and so forth, so that we we can withstand the test of time.
And you spoke about and reminded us that you are farmers, of course, and that Strait of Hormuz blockage in terms of fertilizers and feed, did that block you off in terms of your business operations, or are you completely reliant on South Africa to get your feed supply?
Yeah, so maize, we're sitting with a record crop of maize, both maize and soya, but prices are linked to Chicago Board of Trade, rand dollar based. So, geopolitical events, they do impact us. Fuel price has an impact on transport, on plastics. Fertilizer side has also been impacted. So, definitely, we took notice of it, and it has led to some cost increase.
Have you found that maybe consumers are also looking to have their chicken differently? So it's not enough to spatchcock it, and they're looking for, especially the younger consumers, crumbed chicken and things like that. Are you going aggressively into that market?
We have been always for a long time, since I think 2005. We launched crumbed ranges, fully cooked ranges, tendering for convenience, as you rightly put it, for more exciting, ready-to-eat portions, chilled processed meats, simply chicken, Viennas, bolognas. So I think we're very diversified. We operate in wholesale, retail, but also very significantly so in quick service restaurants and in hotels and other restaurants and catering business.
The waste to value division, can you explain that to people who are not familiar with the term?
Yes, so what we're doing, it's an effort around sustainability. It is a greener thinking and process. It is more friendly to the environment. So we obviously generate wastewater from processing chicken. We convert that wastewater due to the CODs trapped in there to electricity. It's a gas production in a big digester, producing gas, and we burn the gas and we generate electricity, and then the water is cleaner when it's discharged to the municipal sewers. We also use a reverse osmosis to clean water, to reuse, repurpose water. We also produce fertilizer from those operations.
You operate in different municipalities in the country, and of course, your business would have to have good services in terms of municipal services to operate. Are you finding that you have to have your own backup water and electricity, or are you finding services going quite well at the moment?
Yeah, I think, Motheo, it's been a long time that we are involved with the municipalities. We really work with them. We support where we can in terms of also looking after some elements of maintenance. We make plans with alternative water lines, underground water, etc. So it's not a simple environment to navigate, but we rather cooperate, work with, and then also support the community in the process.
Well, that was Marthinus. Thank you so much for your time. Marthinus Stander, the CEO of Rainbow Chicken, talking about those great results for the period. Revenue increasing 7.7% to 17 billion rand. The company also enjoying 2.4 billion rand in cash over the period.
The Money Show Explainer.
We've had some great results from private institutions this week, and Stadio joins the fray as well, really calling out a voice for themselves to compete with the traditional universities in terms of student enrollments. They saw their revenue go up by 13%, working out quite well for the company, and also having stronger results over the period. Stadio had 56,171 students at the end of June, up 10% from a year earlier. By August, that number had increased to 59,191. The company says it aims to reach 80,000 students by 2030. We are now joined by Ishak Kula, the CFO of Stadio Holdings, for more on the results. Ishak, welcome to the Money Show.
Good evening, Motheo, and to your listeners. Good to be here.
How encouraging is it to see those lines of students, those online applications, to want to come to a Stadio and further their education, especially in a very competitive and robust, education space in South Africa?
Yeah, indeed, Motheo. We've been fortunate for the period under review. I think hitting our 56,000 landmark that we promised our investors in our pre-listing statement. And as you rightfully said, we've now gone and exceeded that. We've been fortunate to open 2 new campuses in Stadio Higher Education, our new flagship Durbanville campus, with 1,250 students, exceeding our initial expectation and really having good demand there, Motheo, and then really backed up again by AFTA, a world-renowned film school, which we've also opened the campus. I think in the period we saw really strong demand for our contact learning offering, which has grown by 15%. And really, off the back of the last 2 years, we've continued to see this momentum, Motheo, really supported again also by our strong distance learning growth.
The higher demand will also challenge, I guess, your capital spend in terms of broadening your capacity to handle the number of students walking through your doors. What's that looking like for the next year?
Motheo, I think we flagged it in our half-year results. We've, over the last couple of years, really invested into contact learning distance, into the contact learning mode, really putting down a significant amount of infrastructure. In the period, we've spent 147 million rand on capital and infrastructure projects. I think we've notably the highlight being the 79 million rand in our flagship Durbanville campus. And Motheo, to continue to meet the strong demand, we've embarked on a strategy to continue with further expansions in our existing footprint, and we believe that the investment will yield the required return. So we see some elevated spend on the capital side, but we've got fairly low levels of gearing and continued good cash generation. So we don't see a significant amount of debt on the balance sheet. On the half year, we had about 120 million rand debt on our balance sheet, which contextually, Motheo, is about 12% gearing, which is quite low for our institution. So we've got lots of capacity to continue to invest in that space.
Revenue was up 13% to just over a billion rand from 957 million in the previous period. You've seen yourself gain over this period. What do you think is attracting more students to your institutions?
Motheo, I think at the very heartbeat of our organization, we live something we call WWS, and it's called widening access, which is one of the W's. And I think our competitive price point, I think, is a very good value proposition for our students, both in our contact learning mode of delivery as well as in our distance learning mode of delivery. I think the second thing, over the years, we've really worked hard on investing into systems and infrastructure to support, particularly on the volume side, our distance learning student base. And I think that infrastructure spend has allowed us to make sure that we deliver a good quality education, which is really core and key for our students. And I think that word of mouth has allowed us to continue to build on that momentum. And I think one can't ignore that in the post-COVID era, we've really seen students coming back to the contact learning space. I think at one stage, there's many questions whether that will ever happen again. I think we've been fortunate to see that students really want to engage with fellow students and offering a holistic experience, a comprehensive, what we dub and speak to as a comprehensive experience with a good social life that allows students to engage both academically and non-academically, I think is core to that demand.
And as we close off, I wanted to ask around the spend on the new curriculum and software development, because I imagine you are giving those traditional universities a few sleepless nights.
Yeah, indeed, Motheo. I think strategically, I think to remain competitive in the space, I think you must ever be creative in that space and continue to innovate and refresh yourself. So quite crucial for us is to continue to look at how we can be innovative and keeping our programs modern and relevant. And of course, Motheo is inviting the industry into our organization. That's quite key. We partner with what we call the world of work, inviting industry into our organization to help us make sure that our programs and our offering is indeed what the workplace desires, which gives our students the best opportunity to find placement once they've concluded their studies with us.
All right, that was Ishak Kula, the CFO of Stadio Holdings, with those double-digit increases in student numbers are really giving it a go in a very, very robust market in South Africa. Advertech earlier in the week also having a very, very good week. It seems it's been a very good time for the private education institutions in South Africa, not only in the primary and high school divisions, but also in the post-matric divisions as well.
The Money Show.
The markets.
A very good ending for the JSE then today after a very, very weak week for the local market. We saw the points go up more than 1,000 today. Industrials were stronger by more than 1%. Banking stocks also posting good numbers, with mining shares also coming in with a win there. Some good numbers coming out from the JSE, especially from Northam. Some numbers coming out of the US in terms of GDP as well. Zola Kimguni, the CIO of Benguela Global Fund Managers, joins us now. A bigger of a push for the dollar then, Zolak, in terms of what we saw with GDP growth in the second quarter for the US.
No, certainly. I think one of the other factors that also came through was the statement by the Fed chair that suggested that rate hikes are still on the table. So I think the market took that into account in setting the price of the dollar today.
Tell us about some of those notes. I mean, we've seen that inflation number come through from the US as well, still quite elevated for US consumers and putting pressure on households there.
I think the most significant thing that he said was that the inflation target is set at 2% and he's firm about it. And I think that kind of told the market that he is preparing to hike if inflation doesn't get better. I think the second thing is also that he's trying to recycle capital from the back end, the long end, where we saw bond yields rising significantly over 5, and he's trying to use the short rates. But that might actually change if he actually starts hiking, because the short rates would actually rise and compress the term premium.
But reading from his notes, I would imagine then hiking is on the table.
It's definitely on the table. I think September remains a live scenario. I saw that the market has moved up from 35% hike probability in September to 46. So there is definitely an expectation that it could come through a rate hike.
Something very interesting happening in our own markets. Northam coming out with some results today, astronomical numbers, 8-fold jump for them. But the more interesting bit is that Valterra is suspected to be the one company making the bid for Northam. What do you make for that platinum play, especially with prices having been high over this period?
Yeah, look, I think Northam has done very well to invest a few years ago in expanding their production, and now they getting a production ramp up. What we are seeing is that it's looking like some of the bigger players are looking for an opportunity, and they've had a windfall. I mean, all these PGM miners. It looks like some of them, particularly Valterra, has been speculated to be the one that's trying to get back to the bigger size. You'd remember that they sold their Rustenburg operations, which were relatively poor in quality at the time, but I mean the PGMs have bailed them out. It looks like they want to actually scale up again by consolidating with Northam. I would be cautious if I was a Valterra shareholder, but I think it would be good for Northam to realize that value. And management seem to have gone out on an auction to auction themselves. They invited other bids, so I don't know. I mean, I think
there's a lot of suitors there.
They want to retire, I'm sure.
Looking at the gold price, then down 1.6% today, comparing it to that platinum number that was up 0.5%. Are we to worry that the gold surging days are over, or is it just a one-time thing?
Now, I think that it's also read through from what Kevin Walsh was saying. I think that if interest rates get hiked, the opportunity cost of holding a non-yielding asset like gold it becomes less attractive. So what the market would do is it would reprice the gold relative to the opportunity cost. I think we also said that the rand actually weakened as a result of a similar sentiment. But I don't think we are firmly in the direction of gold pulling back towards 4,000 again. I think what would determine that is whether we're getting more data that suggests that the hike is definitely coming through, because that would be supportive of a dollar and weaker for commodities and emerging market currencies.
Thorough unpacking of the numbers there. Chief Investment Officer at Benguela Global Fund Managers, Zwelakhe Mnguni. Well, the rand 16 rand 15 cents against the US dollar. It's now down 1% against the US unit. 18 rand 72 against the euro, down 0.5% there, and down more than 0.5% against the British pound at 21 rand 88 cents a share. That's your markets.
The Money Show.
The Friday File.
The Friday File.
We're marching towards the hour 7 here on The Money Show, and around this time on the show, we usually do lifestyle and trends, and we're about to get into something very interesting that's happening here on our shores in South Africa. Season 4 of the Betway SA20 was one to remember, with 22 of 34 matches completely sold out, which I absolutely understand, because the atmosphere at those games really feels festive. SA20, an exciting cricket league that attracts the world stars, has established itself into a commercial sporting success and is tonight's Friday File. Joining us to tell us more about it is South African cricket legend and SA20 League Commissioner Graham Smith. Graham, welcome again to The Money Show.
Oh, Glenn, thank you for having me. It's always good to catch up.
Those kind of numbers, I mean, we saw attendance at the SA20 Season 4 increase by 13%, 22 matches sold out of 34. Any league in the world, and I mean any sporting code, will definitely love those numbers. How were you able to attract fans to the stadium?
Yeah, look, I mean, when I'm listening to you mention the numbers, I'm thinking back to pre-season 1, where one of our goals was to try and revive the cricket fan and bring new fans to the game. So, a lot of the things that we were talking about and thinking about in terms of not only having the best cricketers in the world on show, but the fan experience was crucial. The entertainment aspect, the music, the lifestyle of our stadiums was crucial to how we went about it. So, it's been terrific to see that unfold over the last 4 years. I mean, I think last year in stadium, the amount of people I met that were coming to cricket for the first time just really made me happy. I mean, we want to see the game and the sport grow in this country and introduce it to a whole lot of new people. So it was brilliant. For us now, moving into season 5, our 5th birthday is around the corner, and hopefully a lot more to come.
One of the toughest things to do in the South African economy is to get bums on seats, especially when we're talking sports, because it's a matter of spending your money or whatever is left of it after you handle your business every month. So what kind of things are happening at the stadiums that have people come there and enjoy themselves? It really feels festive. I mean, when I went there in Cape Town in January, I was with my family, and it felt like everyone's needs was catered for.
Yeah, look, we try and provide a stadium experience that everyone from families right through to those that want to have, a great day out and a lot of fun can have. There's everything we do is very fan-centric. The decisions we make around the entertainment, the stadium experience, even to our sponsors, when we're building in our sponsorship contracts, it's always a fan activation, like a car giveaway or the Catch 2 Million, or every element is around trying to make sure that our fans have the best experience. Obviously, the core product will always be highly competitive cricket, the best cricketers, but around that, how can you create an experience that fans will have the best time, and those that are new to the game, fall in love with the game. So, every decision we make is around that. And I think also, pricing of tickets is crucial. Yeah. It's a very unique event. It's not like if you take the rugby that's on now, it's a Saturday and a Saturday. We've got a game a day for almost 5-6 weeks, which is
in itself a unique challenge to be able to attract fans to. So, seeing fans come out on a Monday and a Tuesday night with their families to support the event is something I'll never take for granted.
The SA League growth has now been independently assessed. Can you share some of those numbers in terms of perhaps revenue and the economic impact of having such an event in South Africa?
Yeah, I know. Look, I think we've obviously got an audit firm that's done that for us year on year. So I think this year we brought 6.5 billion to the GDP. I think created over 9,500 jobs. And I think, what I'm always trying to get through to people is the scale of the event that we've been able to build. I think it's almost like bringing a version of a world event to South Africa every year. And for me, that's the exciting thing. I keep referencing my time in stadium. There's even, there was a guy selling donuts in the PE Geberge Stadium, and, he spoke about how there hadn't been, cricket event in many years that he could, sell his products. And I think for me, those are the stories that you'd love to tell. Everyone looks at the highlights and the main things, but, the 9,500 jobs, building the communities and seeing the fan bases get behind their teams is terrific.
When you first launched this particular sporting product, you were keen to say you want commercial success, but you also want to make sure that, sports is seen differently in South Africa in form of entertainment. And one thing that also happens there, besides the cricket, of course, is the entertainment. Is that something you'll be doing this time around in terms of partnering with those headliners that make sure that people are entertained?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, I think, obviously you need the commercial success that allows you to be able to build things in stadium. Without the revenue of our main supporters, broadcasters and our big sponsors, it doesn't allow you to create these experiences. So we're very grateful for that. But then, we as you say, the money that we spend on making sure that in-stadium experience is world-class, the music, the entertainment, absolutely will be the same. Everything hopefully will be slightly better and bigger this year. And I think also one of the things is what we've seen from our fans and the feedback we get is that people love the consistency of the product as well. Year on year, they know what to expect. They know that the kids are going to have a great time. They know that the adults are going to have a jaw, and that the cricket's highly competitive. So, if we can keep meeting those standards, then hopefully the fans will keep supporting us.
Without giving us any numbers about your war chest for season 5 of this competition, but you've attracted people like Mitchell Marsh, Sam Curran, Jason Holder, international stars, Kane Williamson, right? And for cricket fans, the avid ones, we want to look forward to things like the auctions and who's going to play for who this time around. Have you kept those IPL partnerships?
Yeah, look, I think we're very fortunate with our 6 teams, the 6 IPL franchises that bought into SA20, that they're highly competitive. They want to win. The quality of cricketer that they bring out and produce has been amazing and looks good for this season. I think we obviously had a big auction last year. We work in 3-year cycles. That will be a smaller auction this year. There's I think there's 19 slots in this year's auction available, and they're big slots. But the squads are looking very strong and very competitive again. Very, very excited for the auction I think it's the 7th of October. And then the squads are all together. I think over the transition of the 3 to 4 seasons now, what we've seen is the South African player as well has gone from strength to strength. There's some quality South African players around, and that's making the league more and more competitive on an annual basis.
Another thing that's happened as you touch on the players is we've found gems in very, very young players that are coming through the system. They're playing in packed stadiums, preparing them for their Protea future. So something of a platform also for SA youngsters.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we force our franchises to pick, 223 players, and you're starting to see the benefits of that in the system. You think about the likes of Mapaka, Luandre Pretorius. I mean, it's crazy to think that Devil Brevis is, still only 23 as an example. But, under 19 tiers looking strong, and then that talent starts coming through into our system. The difference is when I played for South Africa, people globally only saw sort of the 14 or 15 players that were part of the national team all the time. But now you've got an event that's being viewed around the world at scale, and you've got 60, 70 South African players across the board, showing their talents. And you're starting to see it, how they're being picked up in franchise leagues around the world. I mean, I think last year we were the most represented nation internationally at the IPL. So that's great things in 4 years, that you start to see those little trends starting to happen that hopefully keeps South African cricket and the Proteas strong.
From a brand perspective, the SA20 has also punched above its weight, if you will, because when you talk about T20 cricket, you now talk about the IPL, SA20 amongst the Big Bash, as well as the PSL and CPL in Caribbean cricket.
Yeah, I think we've seen the transition now that franchise cricket is growing, and my feeling is that you probably end up with 4 to 5 tier 1 leagues, the high profile leagues around the world. And it's very important to us that SA20 is recognized, certainly in the Southern Hemisphere, as the number one kind of product. I think we globally our numbers are speaking out, like just outside India is the best in the world. But, we need to make sure that every year we don't take it for granted, and we keep looking to be successful. Our fans hopefully keep supporting us. The great cricketers keep turning up. And that your product is valued, So we work hard every year. We've also, in terms of talent pipeline, we're investing heavily back into a schools program now. We're going into our 3rd year. Last year we had 600 schools, girls and boys, countrywide. So, the grassroots program that we're supporting Cricket South Africa on as well is hugely important for the talent pipeline.
And I think the most important questions for fans this time around, Graham, are they still in contention for around millions if they catch in the stands?
Yeah, we're obviously working with Betway and our other partners, but there will be all the same stuff. We're very fortunate that our sponsors and partners have bought into our, the way that we're fan-centric. So there's always a giveaway. The Catch 2 Million, Suzuki are giving away a car. ABSA, on their spin and win, give away money to fans in stadium. It's so just to name a few. It's been unbelievable how partners like Rain and so on, with their new devices. So the support we get from our partners in terms of helping lift the product up and to make it what it is crucial. Looking forward to the summer then. Graham Smith, they're the Betway SA20 League Commissioner.
The Money Show with Stephen Kroetis is brought to you by ABSA CIB, proud to support Genza Energy's investment in the infrastructure powering West Africa's growth.
The Money Show, Friday Biz Blitz.
And it's fast as fingers first for this Friday Biz Blitz. You heard the question before the break, which tech giant agreed to settle this particular week. We have Laville in El Dorado Park. Do you know the answer, Laville?
Correct, and the answer would be Meta.
Meta is, of course, the correct answer. The owners of Facebook and Instagram, in a very high-class lawsuit in the USA, decided to settle out of court there, something that could change the way we use social media. The second question then, Laville. Transnet is looking to sell one of Joburg's most iconic buildings. Which building is it in this Johannesburg CBD?
That would be Carlton Centre in Johannesburg CBD.
Carlton Centre is, of course, the correct answer. Third one, we've just covered Rainbow Chicken's latest results today. Which company did it belong to before it was spun off and separately listed on the JSE?
RCL Foods.
That is the correct answer, Laville. Shooting the lights out this evening. Which uniquely South African tea grown in the Western Cape is one of the country's major agricultural exports?
I'm going to have to pass on that, unfortunately.
It's grown in South Africa. It's ours. Nobody makes it like we do.
Rooibos.
Of course it is. Don't give up so easily. Let's see if we can get the fifth question before we run out of questions. You've been so good. The South African Reserve Bank recently unveiled commemorative coins honoring Charlotte Maxeke and the women of the 1956 Women's March. What is the value of each coin?
Would that be 10,000?
It's a good try, but very, very far off. 2 rand. This is 2 rand. Liville, a very, very good round for you there for our Friday Blitzer. Thank you for just indulging us and giving us those answers. Some of the information we shared from this week here on The Money Show. Time now is 7 o'clock. Time for your news.